Welcome to Woman Unzipped, a podcast featuring women who share their lives truthfully, vulnerably, and powerfully with moi, LeahRose. I believe that sharing your stories gives you access to transformation, and that when you step into your life with commitment, everything is possible. Join me for stories and shares with women from all walks of life, careers, and lifestyles. Welcome. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Unzipped. I'm LeahRose, and I'm here with Kelsey De Brusinis. I hope I said that right.
You said it perfect.
Yay. And okay, I'm super excited about this conversation because Kelsey is a body decoder, a emotional doula, which I feel like we really need right now, and an erotic chef.
Yes.
Like, hell yeah. How do you tell me more about that?
Yeah. So, just hearing you say it, I'm like, yes, I am all of those things. So essentially I work with the body and understanding really the language of the body and what's within our physical tissue.
Mm-hmm.
And I work mostly with women so they can stop eating, working, and fucking on autopilot.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's hot.
So I love it. You know, with all the emotions, the food, the body, it's kind of like this beautiful recipe for being a human.
Yeah, definitely.
That's also turned on.
Yeah, exactly. And we were just talking right before we started recording, and she's telling me all of her, her titles. And I'm like, how'd you do that? And she's like, I'm just doing what I want to fucking do. Excuse my language. Yeah. I'm just doing what turns me on.
Basically, I just decided one day, I'm like, I don't really care what my business coaches say or this. I'm just going to show up as myself. And this is truly who I am in my life. So that's what I'm going to. Yeah. Oh,
I love that. Okay, so let's get into some questions. So originally we're going to talk about how there's nothing like COVID to kill your sex drive. And right. I originally brought Kelsey on because in my work with people, we have a big community of people that I work with consistently. And one of the things that I'm hearing, not only from men, from women, from couples, from singles, is this like loss of turn on and loss of sex drive. And yes. I wanted to like bring it to an expert who knows about the body and who can kind of talk to us from a body perspective of what's really going on here.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about it before, and I said, when the pandemic hit, it was this really, in 9 months, we're either going to have a bunch of divorces or a bunch of babies, and right. Both have happened, yes. Which I'm sure. And we're going into a year now.
Yeah.
Of this. Like I live in Italy. We've just gone back down into like complete lockdown.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And so naturally, I think what happens is in the beginning, it's fun. It's nice. Like your nervous system starts to relax in some ways because you're like, okay, I'm at home. But then also you have all of these stressors and really high alerts and fears and things that are on the outside. So it's just this, I'm not really sure what's going on. And that creates, I believe, this natural kind of push and pull. Suddenly you're home more with your partner. Oh, okay, we can have like a midday romp. We can have these things, right? And a year in,
right,
everything starts to change a little bit because suddenly it's like, are you so excited still to be not having that space, not having that desire that's created by you having your own things? Suddenly, is it still turning you on that the kids are there all the time?
Right.
So from a body perspective, it's, our sacral energy, if we're not using it, sometimes it becomes quite stagnant within us. And when something becomes stagnant, it can also become frozen. And when it's frozen, then it can be numb.
Right.
So there's this, And so, and of course, this isn't how it's going to look for everybody. But, you put fear together with desire, and that's not really a recipe for turn on. We need to be safe, and we need to feel safe in order to achieve that.
Right. And I actually listened, do you know Eva Clay? She's a
I'm not sure.
sexologist and psychologist, and I had her in Pussy Wisdom Academy, which is our academy to talk about pleasure. And she kind of breaks down the science of a woman's orgasm. And what I found really interesting was that when a woman is scared or not safe, she cannot open into her turn on. And like a woman needs to feel safe in order to open herself to her sexual and sensual energy. And that's where the good hormones come from, the oxytocin, the dopamine, nitric oxide, all of those things kick into gear, but that can't happen if she's not feeling safe. So it's like all women, a lot of us are walking around numb with just having that fear of the unknown, right? Of what's going to happen and all of that. And yeah, God, I'm going to actually read this because I think it's good. It could drive us a little, things can get intense. I'm going to read this message I got from someone recently. I don't know this person. And I reached out to her to set up a time to get coffee. And she said, if you know any daddy doms who are open to playing with a sweet lady little pet, any role it takes to receive daily human touch, I'm needing someone to connect with in the AMs for human connection. Recommended needs by multiple doctors in Eastern, Western, Native, and Hawaiian medicine. And I was looking at that and I'm like, oh my gosh, this woman really needs some touch. Like, I need touch. I'm actually in a committed relationship right now, and I'm not getting the connection that I actually need. Like, what do we do about this? Like, what do we do?
I mean, it's interesting because I've spoken in some women's groups, and almost every single woman was saying the same thing. It's like they're reaching the point of intolerance, of needing to have the touch and the connection, and like the sense of belonging that also comes from that. And first of all, props to that chick for not really even knowing you, and then also having the courage to send it.
Yes.
And yeah. And two, I mean, it makes sense, right? We as humans, it's like in order to move our energy through our body and these things, breath, touch, movement, right? So all of these things help us to really be able to move them. And that touch, it's the thing that I believe reminds us that we're alive. It's the biggest organ on our body.
Right.
And when we start to miss that connection, it's like just that sensation on your fingertips of somebody else.
Right.
Of the hair of someone's arm, like these little things. And all of these things remind us that we're alive, remind us that we're connected, remind us that we're here kind of like in this together also. Right. And so it's just, I don't have the solution at this point. I will be honest, because
you're like, you're in your own lockdown. We're all going through the same shit.
Yeah. But what I do know is that no matter what situation you're in, whether it's a committed relationship or single or whatever, making the effort to create those moments wherever and however you can get it. If that is touching yourself, if that is asking for what you need from your partner, whatever, get a dog.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Have one of those, check. Or a cat, right?
Yeah.
Or like, oh my gosh, my animal has been such a lifesaver because I can nurture her and she loves to cuddle with me and lots of kisses and things like that. I mean, lifesaver. I cuddle with her more than I do with my own partner right now.
Is she a baby? Is she
She's
a puppy?
she's not a puppy. She's a little Bichon Frise, little 15-pounder, you know. I can hold her in my arms like a baby.
Okay.
She feels a
Yeah,
need for sure, right?
that's what I would be doing all the time as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. She's
Yeah,
sitting right here.
we decided that we weren't gonna have animals in the bed anymore because we were losing some intimacy between us because it's like there's a dog between us. And then the cat started really asking for attention. So now the cat is also sleeping in bed, and my poor heart, I'm like, they're just looking for love too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, it brings up this, like, for me, it brings up the question of how do we begin to self-generate, right? When you talk about energy and the sacral chakra, you know, getting stopped up or even frozen. And for those of you who are, you know, in isolation just by yourself, or, you know, you have a partner and you're not getting those things met, the only person who's going to be able to give you what you need is you, and you need to find access to that. And that's where your leadership kicks in and self-generation. Do you have any tips on how to self-generate? You know, you talked about maybe touching yourself a little bit. I'm curious what else you got in that toolbox.
Yeah, so touching yourself also with different sensations, nails, like fingers, palms, back of the hands, and really establishing that reconnection to you is beautiful. And I think there's never been a more perfect time to explore you as well. And it doesn't have to necessarily be in a sexual way, but just with this curiosity of, ooh, what is there for me to discover? What is it that I actually want to be feeling? And a great thing is definitely breast massage because this helps to
Mm,
open up our hearts as well
mhm.
and to really help us to connect into our sexual and sensual energy too. So that's fantastic. Um, yeah, I would even use things like doing some yin yoga, right?
Right.
Really kind of creating this space for you to feel. And something also important is allowing the emotions to arise within you. Because if you're stuffing it all in and like keeping it all together and not allowing the emotions to come, you're also going to be like this. You're going to be feeling less. You're going to be less connected. You're going to be more on edge. And so the more that you can kind of soften into the experience that you're having, and then allow yourself to kind of move through that, whether it's through touch or dance or doing a breathwork practice or rolling around on the floor,
Right.
finding a way to connect with food that just like, I don't know, whatever it is,
Mhm.
having fun. But dropping yourself into your experience first, processing your emotions so that you can actually feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then feeling it all the way through, right?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes people don't even drop deep enough to even feel it, but then they notice the warning signs like, "Oh, it feels really intense," or "I feel really full," or "I'm mad at everybody and I don't know why." And
Yeah.
or that irritation, that frustration, that's usually a sign that you need to go deeper. You need to take some time for yourself, go feel those emotions. You know, anger is a
Yeah.
secondary symptom. There's probably something else going on underneath there.
Yeah. And sometimes it's really, there's this fear of feeling the emotion because what if it's so big and there's so many things underneath it? Well, maybe take 10% of it and allow
Right.
yourself to feel that, right? Or maybe just try. Maybe not, but just
Right.
kind of checking in instead of
Yeah.
sticking with the story of this is what it's going to be. But I'm going to allow myself to drop into this experience. And if I need to rage, if I need to cry, if I need to, be really gentle with myself. I can do all of those things.
Yeah.
And I think that helps just to establish this beautiful connection to you as
Yeah.
your own individual. And right now, it's a really important thing to have.
Right. It's so needed.
Yeah.
It's so needed.
Yeah. Even for people in relationships. I'm also in a relationship, and it's like, for me to like rely on my husband to be the one to move my sexual energy is just creating this dependency too,
Right.
right? Like, I can move these things. I can be empowered. I can feel myself. I can experience me. And it doesn't always mean masturbating, but just experiencing myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've taken on a whole new level of knowing myself this year through just like doing my own thing. You know, like, actually, I don't want to hang out with you tonight. I'd rather, take a bath, or I'd rather go on this walk, or I'd rather watch this show and not our show. Like, even just that has opened up such a deeper connection to myself this year.
Yeah. It's been the same for me, where before I felt that I would have made a lot more compromises to find that, well, let's do this together. Well, now we have the time and we're together all the time. And it's not that I don't love you or want you, but I also love and want and need myself,
Right.
and sometimes I don't want to compromise.
Yeah,
It's the truth.
exactly.
Sometimes I want to do what I want to do and have that be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So
I'm so with you on that.
there's that opportunity, right, to really get to know ourselves.
Yeah. To really get to know ourselves. And I think now more than ever, there's so much importance in the in between moments, because
Mm. Mhm.
between the desire and the outcome is all of this space in between. And we can have that be filled with inertia, and these are the things I have to do. Or we can take pleasure in something as simple as putting on our favorite pair of shoes, or putting on a sexy pair of underwear just for you, or picking like the first spring peaches, or whatever it
Yeah.
is. But we get to decide how we fill all of that space in between. And that is also connection to the world around us, which then helps us to connect to ourselves.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, or wear red lipstick, like I walk
That
around,
too.
I talk to people all day long, and I work from home, and I can't be in my pajamas. Like, I absolutely cannot be in my pajamas when I work. I have to get up, do my hair, do my makeup, feel good, feel ready to be of
Yeah.
service, to like be in my body, to feel confident. And red lipstick is one of my things. Just makes me feel good. It makes me feel sexy. And I could be in the
Yeah. Well,
worst
it's
mood
very
and
hot on you. So
thank you.
you're welcome.
I put on red lipstick for Kelsey this morning.
Well, I'm flattered.
Okay, so as I know that you're still in lockdown in Italy, like, what's the plan? Do they have a date for you, or is it just kind of whenever that happens?
Yeah. So the area that we're in Italy, we actually were the first to go into lockdown last year. So
Okay.
we've been in lockdown since early, or like beginning of February last
Mhm.
year. And we've come out of it a little bit and gone into, we went to a restaurant, which is very
Nice.
exciting. We
Nice.
sat down at the restaurant. I'm like, oh, how do I order from a menu? What is this? But then it goes back out as soon as the numbers rise. Then yeah, we go back into complete lockdown, and that's where we're at now, in the red zone. So we have, I think, 3 more weeks right now, and then we see what happens from there. I don't know. They've said that by May, everyone in the whole country will be vaccinated and everything will be fine. And I'm just going, there's no way
Yeah.
that's even
Wow.
possible. It's April. So we could have, 6 more months of this, I think.
Got it. Yeah, and okay, so, like, that reality, right, of 6 more months of this, like, what what do you do personally? Like, what do you have planned? Are you doing virtual events? Are you like, how do you, I know we kind of talked a little bit about it, but like real talk, what do you do personally to set yourself up for turn on?
Yeah. So the biggest thing for me right now is because the weather is finally good again. Nothing turns me on more than the sun.
Mm.
Like, hands down, if I can lay outside with my top off and working on my computer and I feel so alive. I
Yeah.
feel so incredible. I feel amazing. And so that for me, really getting into nature and allowing that is my number one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's also been winter and cold, and that's not sexy, I
Right.
feel.
Yeah.
So that, and then intentionally moving my body every day, moving the emotions and the stagnant energy through me, allowing myself to feel that, because it keeps me aware of what's going on within myself. It keeps me like, I can feel my sensations. I'm not numb. I'm awake. I'm alive.
Yeah.
And then this in turn allows me to create this tension between my husband and I, where it's very intentional for me, building up this like erotic energy between us, where, the flirt,
Mm-hmm.
which, my entire life, I always thought that went away in a long-term relationship. And I don't believe it has to. So for me, it's really focusing on that and allowing myself to just come into my senses through whatever way I can. Food, touch, breath, sound, sex, and just be in it.
Awesome.
Letting go of the control was the most important thing for me, I think.
There we go. Boom. Yes.
Because we can't control any of this at the moment.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, the moral of the story is if you're feeling numb, it's time to self-generate.
Yes. It's time, just start feeling. And it's touching yourself. And if you don't feel anything the first time, even just moving your body, allowing things to come, just try it again. Try it again. It's okay. The thaw will happen.
Yeah. Ooh, the thaw. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So how can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Kelsey De Brusinis. I'm also on Facebook at It's Kelsey De Brusinis, and my website is my name, kelseydebrusinis.com. So wherever you want to find me, I'm available.
Thank you so much, Kelsey, for being on. I can't wait to get a body decoder session from you. That sounds super fun. I appreciate you. And with that, we are complete.
Beautiful. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening. This has been a Global Turn On production. I'm LeahRose Barber, your host. Make sure you check us out at www.globalturnon.com. Until then,